Hey guys, Randy with petesrv TV here today. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about sometimes our least favorite thing when it comes to camping, and most aspects I like, but this is the one I like the least amount. And I've been doing this for a long time and I've learned a lot of things not to do, so I want to share you some of my practical experience on the best way that I've found to dump a toilet tank. So when we're at a campground with full hookups, we have dumping available, we definitely want to dump all of our stuff before we leave. There's no reason to haul that around or take it with us. Even at a state park, we want to dump it at the dumping station as we exit the campground if they don't have full hookups available to us. So first thing is the gray water. We don't need to hold on to that for any reason whatsoever. We can allow that to run straight through. So the gray water is going to be typically marked somewhere on the camper, or it's going to be our smaller 1.5-inch valve on most campers. Some of the larger campers you'll see a larger valve for the gray water, but on this particular one it's our 1.5-inch, and probably on yours as well. So we'll leave that right open and allow that to run through, so when we turn a faucet on or take a shower, the water's not even going to sit in the tank. It's just going to run into the tank and then right out of our plumbing and down into the sewer dump. Now with the black tank it's a little bit different. We want to leave that black tank closed as long as possible, and I have actually seen people that have not done this and had real issues, tanks actually falling out of the bottom of the units because they were so full of solids that the plastic tank broke. It's something you don't want to go through. So what we do by leaving the black tank closed is we allow the toilet chemical that you're using to break down the solids in the toilet paper. Make sure that you use RV toilet paper as well, or chemical toilet paper, because it's going to break down a lot quicker than our regular toilet paper. Don't use paper towels and things down there because it doesn't break down so easily. By allowing it to sit in there for a long period of time and that tank filling up as much as possible, we're actually creating more head pressure when we go to dump the unit, so it's going to evacuate better for us, and it's going to have that time, as I mentioned, to break down the solids and turn it more into a slurry, so it will evacuate easier for us as well. So this is what our typical camper will look like at a campground. So the first thing I want to do is I want to pop this cap off, like so. And I recommend, if you don't have one of these, purchasing one of these. This just helps tell what is coming out of the coach and if there is any left, and just kind of helps with the dumping process and lets me know that I've got everything out of the tanks. So I'm going to install this guy right on the end, and being it's clear plastic, I can see what is coming out, which is not always the best thing to look at, but it lets me know that I've got an empty tank. Now, the next thing we want to do, and this is something that I've found over the years that just helps me out and kind of a good little trick, is the night before I leave the campground, I close my gray valve. And the reason I do that is I want to store a little bit of that wastewater from my showers and my sink and stuff like that to help me clean after I've dumped the black tank. All right, so let's get our hose hooked up here. So I've installed the clear plastic piece. All my valves are closed at this point. I'm gonna go ahead and put on some rubber gloves just to keep things sanitary. All right, glove number 2. And I've got my hose right here, which might look like yours. And you can see I've got a device on the end of this hose as well. Some campgrounds in my area require we use these, and I don't think they're a bad idea because they do help with odor. It's not going to work in this case here because my hole in this tank dump is a little bit larger than normal. But in the pipe that they typically have coming out of the ground at the campground, this will drop right in, and this tapered portion right here will actually seal that up and help, again, with the odors, especially if it's close to our camper or close to your neighbor's camper if you're in a campground that has very tight quarters. So I'm going to take this off today for what we're doing, but good idea to have one of these, and again, some campgrounds do require that you use them. So I'll just remove that and put it over here. Now I'm going to take this into my hose and hook it up to the clear portion that we just installed. And these just twist right on, like so. And then I'm going to take this and just kind of dump it down the hole there. So as I mentioned before, I want to dump the gray last. And again, the reason I'm doing that is because once I dump the black, my hose is going to be dirty with the black, everything that comes out of our black water tank. And we know what we put in there, and we definitely want to clean the hose after. And then we'll go ahead and pull the gray after to clean the hose out for us. So let's go ahead and pull the black. And I don't know if you can see it in the video because I got a sticker right in the way, but I can see the liquid coming out, and now I can monitor how much is coming out and when it starts to slow down, and that'll let me know when I can go ahead and open up my gray valve. So it's coming out at a pretty good rate. And if we're going to be somewhere set up for a long period of time, you've probably seen some things that will keep this angled and help the water draw out of it. Some stands that go under here, and they're not a bad idea if you're going to be set up for, again, a long period of time. So now my black is empty, and again with the visual I can see that it stopped draining, and I know that tank is empty. So again, I'm going to go ahead and open that gray valve that I closed the night before with my shower water in it to go ahead and clean my hose out. And I'm going to watch that guy dump. And the gray water from the shower and the sink, you know, that's just usually soapy water, so not a bad thing to clean this hose out if you store it back in your bumper or put it back in. Personally, I use a Rubbermaid container and put my hose back in there, and then I store it in the back of the truck and put it under the camper when I'm done. And we got about a 40-gallon tank on this guy here, so we're just running the water. My prep guys left it filled for me so I could show you guys in this video on how we do it. Now there is a vent in the roof of the camper that allows air to come into the tank while we're dumping, so it does help with that water to flow out a little bit faster than it would without those vents on there. And we're just about done here. It's slowing down good, and again, having this clear visual on here lets me know kind of how much has come out, and I can monitor and make sure that my tanks are reading empty. So that's winding down now, so I'm just going to go ahead and close that valve there and close this valve here. So now I've stopped the flow of everything coming out of my tanks. I've watched it come through here. I saw everything kind of slow down after we had a big rush of material come out of both of the tanks. And at this point, I usually just spin this guy off, and I will hold this guy up and just kind of let everything run out. And once that stopped running, I can go ahead and store my hose where we store the hose to make the trip home. But anyway, kind of sounds silly, but there is a couple good tips in there, and maybe this will help you dump the tank without having it be such a horrible thing at the end of your camping trip. It really shouldn't be, but with a couple tips here, I think that it'll help you out a lot, and give yourself a clean hose to start fresh with and to store for the rest of our camper and for our trip home. But anyway, thanks for watching Pete's RV TV with Randy today. Always keep an eye out for our quick tip sections. I look forward to seeing you on the road, and happy camping.